I'm Cassie, and you're watching TIGR Reviews Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds from Brouhaha Games. Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds is a 2 to 3 player card game in which players are playing pumpkins into a pumpkin patch to earn points, hopefully having the most points by the time the Cinderella pumpkin is played. This is a lighter game with a good amount of strategy to it, so what I'm going to do is show you how the game plays, and then I'll tell you what I think of Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds. In Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds, players will be playing cards in ascending numerical order into seedling plots to earn points, known as seeds in the game, depending on the plot in which the card is played. Each card played will have an ability which occurs when the card is placed, showing how the player will earn seeds, such as earning a seed per sequential numbered pumpkin plots adjacent to each other, playing a pumpkin into a continuous line of same colored pumpkins, and starting a plot. If a player isn't able to play a card because they don't have numbered pumpkins in their hand which are playable, they may play a card from the compost pile instead. If they can't do that either, they discard their hand and draw a new hand. After a player plays a card, they move a crow to a new plot location. Crows prevent cards from being played into the plots they cover, so each turn a previously covered plot will become available, while a previously available plot will become unavailable. Eventually, a player will play the highest numbered pumpkin, the 8th Cinderella pumpkin. Once this pumpkin is played, the game ends, and whichever player has the most points at that time is the winner of Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds. Alright, so I really liked Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds. I found it to be really entertaining, and I found it to have a good amount of strategy considering how few components come with the game. I was first attracted to the game though because of its artwork, and I just love spooky themed things, and seeing spooky pumpkins was really cool. So I originally wanted to check the game out because of its artwork. I also like games that don't play, an hour or two usually. So I was pleased to find a spooky themed game that played in under half an hour. It's actually closer to, I would say, about 15 minutes. So both those things attracted me to this game, first of all. And also I liked that the spooky artwork wasn't extremely spooky, because some things get really scary and gory and I'm not into that. But I was into the spookiness, which I'd say they were different. And so this game is not scary, it's just spooky. So you could play it with kids that are about 6, 7, maybe not 6, but let's say like 7, 8, or 9 and up. So I like games that include families and are okay with having younger people play the game as well. I found the graphic design of the cards to be easy to interpret as well. I didn't have any problems with that, and sometimes that's an issue with some games. Thankfully, I haven't come across too many graphic design problems in the past, but I am pleased to say I didn't come across any graphic design problems with this either. The game was easy to read, cards were easy to understand, so good on that. Now the gameplay was really easy to understand how to play, and I didn't find myself having too many problems with the rules, so it was pretty straightforward how you take your turn, but I found that this kind of game still offered a good amount of strategy to the players when they were trying to decide what cards to play. It wasn't just you play a card and then you draw a card and that's your turn. So I really appreciate games that have few components and can offer a good amount of strategy like this game. Alright, so the gameplay of Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds was really easy to understand. The rules were pretty straightforward, and the way you take your turn was pretty straightforward as well. But even with all of this straightforwardness, I still found that the game provided a good amount of strategy. Players would have cards in their hands and they would try to make a plan, at least for me. I would try to make a plan of what cards I'm going to play into certain plots, and then by the time my turn comes around, I may not be able to play the cards that I originally had planned. And sometimes you have really good cards in your hand and you think, alright, so I'm going to do this and build up a sequence, get ready to go for over there, and then I'm going to play this card and I'm going to get a ton of seed points, and then it comes back to your turn and you've got great cards in your hand that would have worked really well with each other, and now you can't maybe play any of them, which stinks, especially let's say you have this Cinderella pumpkin in your hand, which is the card that ends the game. If you have the Cinderella pumpkin in your hand, it's also worth 5 points, so that could be very valuable for you, especially at the end of the game. And you also can have control over whether the game is going to end now or later if you have that 8 in your hand. But if you have cards that you can't play, and an 8 is, the last card you could play, you might have to discard it by the time it gets back to your turn just based off of what plots are out. And I found that you know, you can build a strategy, but sometimes your opponents are going to not let that strategy work out. So you have to be flexible, but there was enough going on the table between the plots that you could still change your strategy and actually have a strategy. It's not like, well, I guess I'm just going to play this card. If you're trying to build a strategy, you definitely can. And I appreciate that because, like I said, you don't get that a lot with lighter games. And with this game, I felt like there was enough strategy to make me want to play this game again. One of the things that I liked about that with the strategy part as well is the crows. So the crows are like super annoying because you have your hand and you're so ready to play cards into specific plots because you're just ready to go. You know you're gonna get a lot of points. And then your opponent takes the crow and moves it onto the plot you were ready to play into, and you're like, come on, now what do I do? And that was kind of fun. I mean, nobody likes to be frustrated, but that stuff doesn't bother me because, again, this game offers the opportunity to change your strategy last second. So, all right, so you didn't get to play the cards you were hoping to play. Play something else. And it might not get you as many points as your original plan, but you're still gonna get points. And you can start building a new strategy off of that. Or maybe you can move the crow out of the way and go back to the strategy you originally had after this turn. So there was just a lot of availability with the crows that I thought, like, I didn't think they were going to matter that much. But once you start playing cards into these plots, they matter a lot. And I appreciated that. It was like an extra added thing to the game that kept players kind of on their toes with their hand management. There were two things in the game that I would maybe change or do something slightly different with. And the first one is the seedling cards. They build a new plot, which is awesome, but they also provide you with two seeds when you play the plot. So you're getting, I felt like it was like getting 2 free points just by taking a card, and most of the time it would happen when you take a card out of the compost pile. So I just felt like it was an easy way to get points when sometimes you would play another pumpkin that would also only provide you 2 points because of how long your sequence is. So I wasn't really like pleased, I guess, with how many points or that you even got points from the seedlings. I felt like because I started a new plot that was powerful enough to not warrant also providing seed points. But that's just, you know, I haven't played this game hundreds of times, so I'm sure that Brouhaha Games, when they were testing this out, put that into consideration. The other thing that I wasn't too pleased about was the size of the score tracker. It's probably going to be different, at least I hope, for the Kickstarter because, especially with 3 players, eventually someone wraps around and passes other players and you kind of lose track of who's in the lead because you're just going around in a circle over and over again. So I think maybe a larger tracker that had numbers, or if it was like a larger placard and it kind of zigzagged through, you're never going to get like, at least I wouldn't get 50, 60 points, but you could wrap it around as long as you could make it. And I think that would make it a lot easier just to keep track of players' points because, like I said, people would lap each other on the card and you would forget who was ahead. So I would just change those 2 things. The seedling card, like I said, I didn't like that it provided points, and the score tracker I thought was a little too small and I would have liked to see numbers on them. Other than those 2 things, I thought that Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds was a really fun game, and like I said, I liked the theme, the spookiness, the artwork, and I liked that there was a good amount of hand management strategy to make this game replayable, and also not just like draw a card, play a card, draw a card kind of game. So overall, I really like the game, and I think that if you like lighter games and you're looking for something with a spooky theme, you'll probably like this game as well. Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds is going to Kickstarter soon, and you can learn more about that down below. If you like this video, please feel free to leave a comment, and if you want the Indie Game Report to check out your game, check out our website down below. Thanks for watching TIGR Reviews Pumpkin Patch Bad Seeds. If I had a box, I would show you the box right here. From Brouhaha Games, I'll catch you next time.